Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, and we're here again in our traditional cafecito. I'm just so excited to be here today to talk about this very important topic that's going to help us continue with learning more about, managing our finances in a way that helps us build financial independence and wealth and all of those things that are critically important and that we don't know. And at least I know that I don't know, and I just keep learning. And I'm so excited to be here with Michelle Gordon, who is an expert in a lot of things from a financial perspective. And that's something that I know that you do. You help people like me that we have no idea to be able to learn and become more educated, not only for ourselves, but also to leave a legacy to our family, because that's how we build the wealth moving forward. And I think that's critically important. So I'm very excited about this topic today, which has to do with how do we do charitable giving in a tax smart way. And I think that's very important because many of us want to give and want to be able to provide and give back to others, but we're not sure how to do it, or we don't do it in a way that is as smart as we could, right? So I love this topic. So Michelle, I would love to first start for you to introduce yourself and let us know about the incredible work that you're doing, and I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you, Liana. It's a pleasure being here. I always love hearing you speak. So yes, my name is Michelle Gordon Matos, and I founded and run actually one of the few Latina-owned wealth advisory firms in the country. We do financial planning and wealth advising, and this subject is actually very close to my heart because I think when people think about financial well-being, they're mostly just kind of thinking about the investment piece, which I find it's really just like a part of the big pie. And knowing how committed uh, we generally are as a group to our family well-being and the well-being of our community, and we tend to give so much. Uh, I love this other piece of the pie, which is the charitable component, because there's so much work that we can do um, above and beyond what we're already doing, with a little bit more knowledge, and so I'm always happy to take what I've learned and hopefully together collectively we can learn more and we can do more, and not just for our family but for our kids, and really engage our kids actually even early on the giving aspect, and really become the next generation of leaders for our community and in this country.
I love that. And first of all, I want to make a pause to congratulate you because you mentioned it, right? You're one of the few Latina owned. And I think that is commendable, but
Thank you.
that's also sad because there should be more. Like it's such an important part of, being able to grow as a community and be able to create the impact. I mean, if we continue to look at the numbers, right? The impact, the economic impact that the Hispanic community as a whole has, right, is huge.
Mhm.
3.5 billion according to the Latino Donor Collaborative, trillion, sorry, according to them. But on the flip side, we don't, like, we have all of this power, economic power, but we don't know how to use it, and then we don't know how to reinvest it
Mhm.
in order to be able to create even more wealth, not only for our community, but just in general for everybody else. So it's commendable to you that you're on this journey, and then hopefully more and more Latinas and Latinos will be able to own to join
Yes.
on that journey, because that's where wealth then it's going to be able to spread throughout, which is what we all need, right? To be able to have that access. So congratulations. I did want to
Thank
make
you.
that point. And you touch on, this collective culture that we
Mhm.
have. It's one of our values as Hispanic, right? Family, extended family,
Mhm.
everybody's family. It doesn't matter blood relative or not, like we care for each other, and we're always in this thinking of providing and giving and being attention and nurturing to
Mhm.
others. So I think charitable giving and understanding what it is and how to go about it becomes critically important. So how did you come to this, and why is it driving you in such an important way?
Oh, no, great question. I mean, it's who I am at my core. I'll start with this. My abuela always says, "Haz bien, no mires a quién." And that's very much been my moral compass, which means do good, don't look at who. And then I've seen that with my mom. I mean, call my mom any day of the week, and she is collecting something for someone to give to people to take to the church and all of that. And my father as well, just early on as a kid, seeing him, hearing about someone losing their job, and is the only breadwinner in the house, and then going with my dad, and my dad's bought, done grocery shopping and bought them a big, and then this grown man starts to cry because I remember he said everyone who they thought was their friend disappeared, but here comes my dad when they're actually in need. So it's the aspect of giving is just who I am at my core. But then I love to educate, and in what I see is we've progressed so much as a group. We're killing it in corporate America. We're gaining new board positions. We're leading in new entrepreneurship in business. But I still find that there's sort of that knowledge gap. So we talk about the wage gap and lack of equity pay, but then there's also a knowledge gap because sometimes no one's knocking on the door. Hey, these are the different ways that you can continue to do the things that you love to do, but in a way that actually serves not just the community, but your family and your kids as well. So one of the things I love, I mean, I just geek out on this. So I love just the different strategies that we can put together, because I think at the end of the day, we end up giving more to those causes we care about. And I'll give you a number. I actually looked it up yesterday, but there is over like millions of charitable foundations or organizations in this country right now. And for a lot in our community, sometimes those are the main service providers. So we're not just helping it, our family and our kids, but we're helping the larger community. If we can give more to those nonprofits in our local communities that are providing much needed services. So, I mean, there's different strategies, and I actually outlined three that we can go over today, very high level. But one, for example, that I love is something called a donor advised fund. Um, for example, we're in corporate, and let's say we get our company gives us stock positions, or we're investing, and we have stock positions or any sort of investment. What we sometimes would do is we sell out of that, and that pushes up our income, which then pushes up, possibly along the tax rate, and we pay taxes on that, and then we give the cash. Well, one way you could do is you transfer those shares. You don't get the tax hit, um, but then you get the full credit for that contribution. And that's something that can continue growing for that charity. And then you designate when you pay it out. So it's almost like, think about it. We have accounts for investing. We have accounts for our college funds for our kids. It's almost like an account for your charitable giving.
That I needed this conversation about 10 years ago.
Oh,
If I would have known that, because that you're talking about something that I actually lived through, and I didn't know this.
okay.
That is so important. what other things that we need to keep in mind? Again, at a very just high level,
Yeah.
this is like not even, I don't see it even as a 101.
No,
Like,
no, 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 no,
like
no.
it's just things that,
Yeah.
to your point, we just need to keep in mind that there
Mhm.
is this exists, because
Yes.
we don't even know, we don't know what we don't know. And if
Mhm.
we don't even know this, we're not even going to start exploring what the option is or what the opportunity could be. Uh,
So I'd say the biggest concept is understanding that different income or different sources of investments get taxed differently, and that different types of accounts exist. So sometimes I mean, like I mentioned before, we're breaking records in terms of reaching higher levels in corporate and entrepreneurship and business startups. Um, but part of making more is also keeping more. So just understanding at the high level that there are multiple strategies that can be done and could be explored to make sure that you're doing something that fits best for you and your family. And what works for, let's say, your neighbor may not work for you because you and your neighbor may have very different goals. So just being open to the idea that not all income is taxed the same way. And it's important to look at having the bigger picture strategy for where the entire pie fits together. Because we're talking about charity, but it impacts retirement, impacts taxes, impacts what we leave behind for our kids. So it really, you want to have more of a interconnected strategy versus doing something, looking at something just as a silo.
how do we learn more? And the reason I ask is because, and I'm now talking about me personally, right? On the one hand, there's a lot of information out there and we get information overload,
Mm-hmm.
and some of it makes sense and some of it like just goes like this, and some of it is not even real.
Mm-hmm.
Which also adds another layer of complexity, right? And then from a culture perspective, many of us, we might feel stupid asking for somebody to explain it to us because
Mm-hmm.
we're supposed to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how can I say I have no idea what I'm talking about? I can't even ask the question because I don't even know what questions to ask. And then who do I ask the question to? Because that's
Okay.
the other thing. That maybe I have questions. Well, I do have questions, and I don't know who to reach out to.
Yeah.
Now I know because I know you. But in general, like for people, how can they navigate in this educating themselves journey? What do you suggest?
Well, first and foremost, I would say I don't think the industry makes it easy for people to understand and to know where to go. So let's kind of accept that for a moment. So it's not just all on us. I don't think the industry makes it easy. But I'd say you want, like anything else, you want to build out your team of experts and specialists. So you want to work with either a tax advisor, tax professional. Not all CPAs are, proactive. Sometimes they're more reactive, where they're just sort of filing what you've done, but not always proactive and looking in terms of, hey, let's make sure what we're lining you up for the next several years. From a financial standpoint, you want to look for someone who's a fiduciary. I think most people come across, they may not know what that is. In our industry, a fiduciary like myself is someone who, by law, needs to act in your best interest. So we're not compensated for selling something. We're not compensated by, a firm. We're almost like a lawyer. You hire a lawyer. We're compensated by you. We work for you. We counsel you. By law, we need to have reasonable basis that something is in your best interest. So looking for someone who's a fiduciary, and you can see that by how they're licensed. Are they a Series 7, which is a broker, or the Series 65 as myself, who would be a licensed fiduciary. And then so you want to build out your team. So and I'd say start there. Start building out the team. Yes, there's a lot of information, but it's hard to decipher what's accurate, what's not accurate, and more importantly, what actually works for you. So look for someone who's going to have more of a holistic approach and is taking into account your specific family needs and desires versus trying to sort of fit you into sort of a shelf box solution, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to put your email so that people can reach out to you as well, because I know that that's important. Again, going back to the question of how do we reach out to somebody? I know that is, you are definitely something that someone that people need to reach out to.
Well,
How
I would
can,
say I
oh,
would say if someone reaches out to me, um, there's 3 PDFs that I would love to share with them. It's timely, it's year end, and at least things that they can start considering. So, factors to consider if you're thinking about charitable strategy, or just general things to start doing before year end that you can sort of check off and at least sort of get you thinking about that.
that's very important. And why do we, and especially as Latinas, right? Why do we need to think about this? Not only again for ourselves, but for our families, for our communities, because I think it's something that we think it's not for us. We believe that it's, or at least even I felt it like that's for the very, very rich people, right? You need to be a philanthropist or something like that. Like, why do I need to think about this? Because it's going to help me, it's going to help others. Like, how do you shift? What do you recommend to help us understand that it doesn't matter where you are, it's
Uh-huh.
something that helps you as well?
Okay. Well, simply, I would think about this. Let's say, I'm a mom, and I always tell my son, I'm always giving him examples of really good habits, or people that I deem are good role models for him. So I'm looking at people that are doing the things that maybe I'd want him to do. So if we say these are things that people, at the higher levels of wealth are doing, then maybe we need to learn something. And maybe we need to adopt the behaviors to get us to where it is that we want to be. But I would say this: we are a very, generally speaking, very charitable already. We are doing it for as long as I can remember. Every week, me and my family, we've been doing something charitable related. It's just the way we're going to just optimize it. But in this country, so last year, 499 billion was given to charity, and 64% of that came not from foundations and big, institutions or Mackenzie Bezos. It came from individuals. So sometimes the collective of someone doing $10 here, $20 here, as a group, it adds up. So let's just make sure that for those who are participating already, that we could just do it in a way that serves them a little bit better. Like, for example, I think about, I I was one of those 19-year-olds obsessed with retirement. There's one in particular that I always love, and it's this thing called Charitable Remainder Trust. And it's a way you you can give, you set up a trust, and you don't need like millions of dollars to do it. But it's a way that you're essentially allocating money that you're going to set aside for charity, but at a later date, it's going to turn into a lifetime income for you. Now, when you pass away, you can have it set up where the charitable remainder ends up going to, let's say, a donor advised fund, like I mentioned. And now your kids become responsible stewards for their community in doling out the charitable benefits to the organizations that they find serves us more. Because I think we're all connected. So if we can all elevate ourselves and elevate the organizations that are doing amazing work, I think that's one way overall we can continue to get to the next level and prepare our next generation to be the responsible leaders that we need.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that example. And again, it just gets me thinking of the things that we don't know what we don't know, but just hearing this information, it just sparks that initial, okay, now I want to learn more and see
Mhm.
how things that we traditionally might do or think of doing
Mhm.
and get into that action. Now, I know that you are, you develop these master classes to be able to create this
Yeah.
awareness. And we're about to like run out of time. I feel like I still have like a ton of other questions, but I want to make sure that our audience and learns about what you're doing. So tell us more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, so I tend to work with families. They've they're either already earning a pretty good income, sizable income, or they're on a path where they have amassed a decent amount of assets. But I know that's not where everyone's at. And there's a lot of sort of financial stability and understanding that needs to be built. So um for my it's a passion of mine. I built a 4-week masterclass essentially for that. We're going to go, it's very practical, very hands-on, and also personalized, because I will be using some of the tools I use for my advisory clients with this cohort. And it's a way to build financial clarity and understanding of the position they're in right now. So really going over fundamental health vitals. So at the end, they will be able to walk away with their own personal financial statement, understand their burn rate. Are they using the income correctly? And what all these words actually mean. But I think if we can build greater clarity and confidence, hopefully we can get to the next level.
I love that. Thank you, Michelle, so much. And I've added again your contact information so that people
Okay.
can reach out to you, can learn more, can
Yeah.
get the PDFs, and just can connect with you. Because you're right. I think we need to start building and becoming more conscious of that, people that we're going to surround ourselves with that can help us as we grow in our professional and personal journey. And having somebody that can help you from a financial perspective on your side is critically important. So thank you, Michelle, for the work that you're doing. I'm just
Thank you.
so excited that you're a part of United Latinas and that you're helping also our members be able to grow, because that's an important from a financial perspective, grow their wealth, because that's part of our mission as well. So thank you so much for being here. It's so important. Truly appreciate your time.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much, Ileana. And I love being part of this community, and we need more of this.
Absolutely. And I just want to remind everybody of our upcoming events. We have our Latina Leadership Meeting happening on November 8th. It's going to be our last Latina Leadership Meeting of the year before we close the year. So don't miss out on that one. We have a lot of really great things to share. We have our Latina Speaker Circle. We had a great one this past, I think it was last week. We have another one coming up on November 16th at noon Eastern Time. If you're a premium member, you have access to those as part of your membership. And if you're not, it's a really small fee for what you get, out of these. So don't miss out on that one, because public speaking is something that is critically important no matter what you do in your life. And then if you're in the Boston area, we're having our first in-person event happening on November 9th. So make sure to check that out as well on our website at unitedlatinas.com/events. Anything else? Any final words? Call to action, Michelle?
Um, Live with purpose. Just remember to be intentional. I'd say that's the biggest thing to take away. Be intentional and be mindful with everything that we do.
Awesome. Lovely to have you here. I'm so
Thank you.
excited. And thank you so much for sharing these great nuggets so that we can continue to build through giving to others, which is really something important and that is in our core and in our hearts. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever in the world you are. Have a good one.
Take care.